Hello, I'm Katherine from Undressed History, and I created this channel to experiment and try to recreate historical findings. And today I'm trying to make my very first cord in the way that our ancestors in the Paleolithic times did. It seems basic, but this technology actually changed everything. I found this cord randomly, and this is the only material I have at the moment. I am in Siberia, and the temperatures are sub-zero right now in the dead of winter, so I can't exactly forage for natural supplies. I took this cord apart into its most basic form and will attempt to put it back together into some type of cord as people would have a long time ago. I think this is jute. I don't think this is anything synthetic, but you can let me know what you think. The first thing I'm going to do is take these fibers and try to place them together in some type of loose singular form by taking bits and simply rolling it between my fingers. I am not an expert. I am just a random girl trying to see how our ancestors would have figured things out and learned. I just continued rolling this until it was one long strand. I'm not sure if that was the best idea, but that's what I did. Now that I finished rolling it all up, I'm going to try to turn this into a cord. So I'm taking it, I'm making sure it is exactly in half. Okay, now here, common mistake. I twisted it to the left, I twisted it towards me, and then I tried to also turn it over to the left. That's wrong. Yes, unravel it. Start twisting to the right, away from yourself. Twist to the right until it folds over on itself. Twist to the right again. Move to the left. Now take the untwisted one. It'll be over to the right, and then you twist it to the right and move it to the left. Twist it to the right, move it to the left. Twist to the right, move to the left. Twist to the right, move to the left. And every time my brain got confused and my hands didn't want to work with me, I thought this to myself: twist to the right, move to the left. Twist to the right, move to the left. And you just do that over and over. And the cord gets kind of twisted up beneath, which can be frustrating, and you can see that my cord kind of started coming apart because of this, whatever this fiber is that I used. I think it's jute, but it just, was coming apart. But you can see how it's beginning here, and it does not untwist once you've started this. Once you twist to the right and move to the left like that, it does not come apart. It stays like that, which is wonderful. So I'm just going to continue doing this the whole way through. The reason I chose cord as my very first experiment is because, first of all, it's pretty simple, but second of all, it's fundamental to a lot of our progress as a human species. Once you can make cord, it isn't just a string or a rope, which in themselves can also be very important, but it can be used to make all sorts of things like bags, baskets, nets for fishing or hunting, binding tools together, binding clothing together, making clothing itself, footwear, even to aid in the creation of shelter and boats. The list goes on. Imagine how important this technology must have been to our ancient ancestors. It's such a versatile piece of technology, and its uses could be almost endless in ancient times. This technology is so important that we still use it today in the exact same ways, and it's assembled in almost the exact same ways as well. Only now we tend to use a lot of synthetic materials, and machines do most of the work. You might be wondering when we first have evidence for cordage. I found a really cool scientific journal article that has new direct evidence of actual twisted cord found on an old stone tool. This piece dates back to around 50,000 years ago, so that's roughly around the year 48,000 to 51,000 BC. Furthermore, it wasn't just Homo sapiens or modern humans who had this technology. This specific finding would have actually been used by Neanderthals, another hominin. Some possible secondary or indirect evidence for cordage has also been found starting at around 115,000 to 120,000 years ago. So that would be around the year 113,000 BC or 118,000 BC, between there. Another journal article records findings of seashells with perforations. Those are little holes that we can only supposedly be used to run some type of string through. It could very well have been cordage, although the authors state that, of course, it could have been something else like sinew or leather. The seashells were also painted for decoration, and once again, this wasn't done by Homo sapiens, but rather by Neanderthals. Just because this is the earliest possible secondary evidence doesn't mean that it was the first time it was created or used, of course. This technology could have been discovered or invented much earlier. Okay, so there it is, the final result. My first cord I've ever attempted making. I think if I could give advice to somebody else starting out, it would be take it slow, because that's the best way you're gonna keep everything even, and you want the cord to be perfectly even as you can make it, because if it's not even, it's going to be a pretty weak cord. So testing it out, it feels pretty strong to me, and it's relatively even, especially for my first attempt. So my husband actually tested the strength out, and it was pretty terrible. It broke immediately. It snapped, like it just snapped. He thought I was gonna get upset, but I wasn't, because it's just an experiment. It wasn't a big deal or thing. But yeah, so I guess I'll try it again, and I'll try to make it stronger. You know, maybe it wasn't even enough, or maybe the materials just are not good enough for this. And so I'll be really excited in the springtime when I can go try to find the right materials. But for now, just thought I'd give that update that it did not hold up. It broke.